Okay, I have in front of me the H&S Infinity. I've had this brush for a decade and I've barely used it, frankly because it doesn't work very well. Now I won't be spraying with this or reviewing it, tearing it apart or none of that stuff. I just wanted to bring you up to speed on where I am with this brush. So a few months ago I posted a comment on a video about how I was not happy with the brush. It had never performed properly in the 10 years that I owned it. And I said that I felt ripped off. Well, I got a reply from Warwick, the CEO of H&S, and he was a little butthurt and started chastising me, saying how he doesn't appreciate me bad-mouthing the good people at the company and that they weren't out to rip anyone off, which I'm sure is the case, but at the end of the day, I'm still stuck with a $300 paperweight. So I told him, this isn't directed at anybody at the company. It's just that I'm frustrated. And he suggested that we meet in a video conference, which we did. And I mixed the paint the way he asked me to. I put the pressure the way he asked me to. And I demonstrated at my easel and showed him exactly what the brush was doing, what it had been doing since I've owned it. Now, I have sung the praises of this brush, in the past, but I was in denial because, I paid a lot of money for the brush and it doesn't work. But I told him that once I applied the fix from Rob at Dread Effects, then it sprayed a little better, but made me intestine when I actually tried to apply it. It was just frustrating and a nightmare to use. So, seeing what was going on, he admitted that yes, there's definitely a flaw with that brush. There's something wrong with the defect, and that he had some parts he would send me that he thought would fix the problem. So I said okay, and he asked me if I would revise my comment, which I did. I told him I'll take it down, and I did as soon as we got off the video conference, and that was the last I've heard from him. No parts, no call, no response when I try to email or message him or even try to contact him on his YouTube channel comment section. Completely ghosted. Now, my first inclination was just to say, well, forget about H&S. There's plenty of quality brands out there. I don't need them. But I didn't want to cut off my nose to spite my face. And I wasn't going to hold an entire company accountable for one man's fragile ego. So I pulled the trigger and I got the Infinity 2024 edition. And that's what we're going to be reviewing. So, you see we got the spray card. We have and the airbrush. Wow, that's just beautiful. You can compare it. Yeah, it's gorgeous. So, I like that there's a wider gap in this than the original. It makes spraying with it on a lot less obstructive to what you're actually doing. And we have a smaller cup, which is awesome. No cap with this cup. It'd be cool to have a cap, but I don't need it. Got the little tool. So that's basically it. And the little scratch tip. which was introduced for the Geraldes, and which came with a series of different size ones. But what we're going to do here is we're going to tear it down. It's got your quick set like the original. Got a much larger hole, which makes it very easy to get in there and manipulate things. It's got a better, much easier to grab adjustment for the spring tension. Needle looks pretty polished. Looks like there's still a little residue from when they spray tested it. That could be my imagination. No, it's definitely leaving some black. Okay. The chucking nut. Spring adjustment. Now, the needle chucking guide has had a major change to it. It's set up more in a like spiral configuration as opposed to the original, which was more of a hexagon type arrangement, which probably has a lot to do with how the trigger lever meshes with the guide, and hence the reason that it needed the fix that it did. Now we grab the handy little tool that's included and loosen up this housing. I lost the one that came with my other Infinity. Okay, now that's a problem. Seems the needle bearing screw and the PTFE seal are not intact. They're just rattling around inside the body. So that's strike number one. So how do they spray test this with no seal? And of course the quick disconnect. Alright, so let's pull out the front end. There are cap and screws by hand, no tools. And inside we find the new titanium nozzle. So this is a 0.25, which they always boasted about the smallest needle in the industry with the 0.15. And why'd they feel the need to change that? Okay, so it's titanium. Is that better? Well, that remains to be seen. I mean, will it last longer? I don't know. I've had some nozzles that have been around for a long time and they're fine. So, and they're brass or steel. So, remains to be seen. Is it just another gimmick? Maybe. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna harp on that too much. We're going to put this, remember, hand tight. I'm going to reassemble it. That just feels gritty in there. Doesn't feel like it's going all the way in. Okay, people, so far this thing is not feeling all that premium. I'm hoping it's just that I have a sour taste in my mouth from my last experience. The assembly is very simple. That trigger sits right in place. You don't have to fight to get the lever to line up. You don't have to beat it in funny. So that is definitely a plus. And this housing is a lot different than I've seen. Because normally this screws into the housing, and this one has threads on the outside, and it's a barrel that fits over it. So, interesting. Okay, and that's cranked all the way in. Okay. Put the chucking nut in place. Tail piece. Of course, like I said a million times, I like to turn mine sideways so that it doesn't interfere with my hand, or so that my hand doesn't interfere with the mechanism. So, and put on the cap. me give this just a little nudge. All right, so now we just got to put on the cup and take it over to the easel. Okay, we're starting out at 25 psi using Createx Illustration Black right out of the bottle. I have a little bit of hesitation on the trigger. I'm going to reduce it just a little bit with 4021 reducer to about, I guess, about 1:1 by eye, of course. Okay, I got some weird hesitation going on. Seems like after I back bubbled it to mix it, it doesn't want to spray at all, so I'm going to pull this back and try to clear the nozzle. Okay, now she's throwing paint. Got some more tiny stuff up here. Yeah, those are much better dots. The brush definitely prefers the paint thin. So let's see what kind of gradient we can get out of it. Nice little fade. Try to come back in and just barely hit the edge. Yeah, you can't, I don't even think you can see it through the camera. We're going to turn this PSI down to 20. Okay, that's spraying pretty nice with thin line, but it's Still a little hesitation on the trigger. Okay, I'm going to dump the paint out, and I'm going to add reducer. I'm going to fill it most of the way back up with 4021, and it's going to be mostly reducer. The only paint is what was left in the cup after dumping it, just to see what it does with a highly over reduced paint. Okay, yeah, that's what you want. So it seems, as long as you're working on paper and not a hard surface where it's going to spread on you and spider all over, you can't really reduce this paint too much with this brush. Over reduced, low pressure. I'm going to turn this down to 10 psi. Too much hesitation. Up to 15 psi. Okay. That's some pretty good atomization. Much softer than before. I don't know about much, but well, see it there. I could certainly get some tiny little lines out of it. Now, what I've really been wanting to do is try out this scratch tip. Get right down to the paper. Sorry about the rumbly sound. Uh, I didn't think about it at the time, but my microphone is mounted at the top of my easel, so it picked it all up. It's not that loud when you're actually using it. So now I'm using it in conjunction with the quick set on the back of the handle. That way I can get a consistent line, and adjusting it in a little more, I can get to the tiniest amount that I can get to come out, and then the distance is judged by the tip, and the width is judged by the quick set, and it's just like writing on a piece of paper with a pen, just completely consistent. And with the quick set, you can adjust that, and you pull it back, and you have your full range of movement. You click it back in, and you're right back where you were. So, two great features when used together. It's not great on paper because the scratch tip does do that. It dents the paper. Now, as far as I know, this quickset feature is exclusive to Harder and Steenbeck. I know they created it. It was their invention, and I haven't seen anybody else try to reproduce it. So it's a great feature, and actually I find it to be brilliant. That was one of the major selling points for me when I got my first Infinity. And I never used the feature. I just found it cool, so I wanted it. So, okay, so there you have it. It will definitely spray some over-reduced black, but I usually use a black canvas and do a white underpainting, so the white is going to be the real test. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some white in this thing just to see what happens. Okay, I have wicked opaque white in here, and it's not really coming out. So yeah, no good. Wicked opaque white garbage. It's the worst thing I ever tried to use. So, can do that a little more now. Let's see. Okay, I'm not getting any paint, no matter how far I pull back. Nothing, a little spot. Okay, pulling back. I'm pulling back all the way. Nothing. Okay, man, it just spits. Yeah, that's not viable at all. So I'm going to thin it way down with water. Okay, have it over reduced now with distilled water, and it's coming out, but it's not. It's just spreading. Okay, well, you see it start to build, and you go slow enough, you can build some color, but but you keep getting a lot of spider in, and it's not great. So I'm going to try something else. Let me try. I'm going to try replacing it with some cheap ass generic white. This came in one of those cheap packs my grandkids actually gave me for Christmas, not this year but the year before. And we're gonna add a little 4021 to it. Okay, so my guess is it's fine. My guess is the problem lies with Createx. Because the cheap paint is doing just fine. So, there you go. My verdict on the brush is it's a good brush. Is it the brush that they claimed it was when they released it? Absolutely not. The build quality is not the best. So much for German engineering. The pieces are scratchy when you take the tips off. They're scratchy. When you take the nozzle in and out, it's scratchy feeling. The needle bearing was floating around in the back of the brush. It wasn't even installed. So you know, we can talk about the build quality of the cheaper airbrushes and talk this one up all we want, but yeah, it's not all that. It's a good brush. Don't get me wrong, but their quality control is not what they claim it is. So, do I recommend it? Yeah. Is it worth the price? Barely, maybe. So that's my take on it. Thanks for watching.